The next motion in the name of Assembly Member Twycross. Yes, can you move your motion?
Yeah, thank you. I've put down this motion on support, particularly for cleaners, because I think it's worth remembering that this is a group of people who keep London going, but who regularly find that they don't actually have enough money to access housing or transport or have a life that involves much more than work. And I think that we shouldn't skirt around the issue of what low pay means. We talk a lot about the figures, and I've argued frequently with the Mayor about the difference between when he came into office and now, and the fact that there's more people on paid less than the living wage than when he became Mayor, both in terms of numbers and proportion. I think we need to recognise that this does mean grindingly long hours and poor working conditions. And I want the Assembly to make it very clear that we stand in solidarity with low-paid workers, and particularly offer support for the recent International Justice Day for cleaners, because I think it's important that we just start talking about making a difference in particular sectors. I was privileged to speak at a meeting last night organised by the Trade Union Unite, which brought together trade union activists discussing pay and conditions in the hospitality industry to coincide with the British Hospitality Association's conference. We heard from cleaners from a major hotel chain forced, when the agency they worked for was changed, to work for much longer hours, for less money, to do more rooms per hour, and with fewer breaks. I heard about workers living 3 to a room because they couldn't even afford to rent their own room in London, and low-paid workers forced to sign a waiver on the Working Time Directive or not get work. Poverty for pay for cleaners isn't acceptable, but nor is it inevitable, and we should take a lesson from New York, where it's now possible for tourists to opt for accommodation where they're guaranteed that their cleaners are paid a living wage. We might imagine, with some of our prejudices from a London perspective, that New York has lower or equally low pay for cleaners. However, whereas a cleaner on London's Park Lane will almost certainly be on or around the minimum wage, say £6.50, £6.55 an hour, her equivalent on New York's Park Avenue is likely to be paid nearly 3 times as much on an hourly agreed rate of $28.50 or around £17.60. Higher pay for cleaners in New York hasn't led to hotels in New York going out of business or to tourists deciding not to travel there because of the price of hotels. It's led to cleaners in the hospitality industry in New York not facing the same levels of poverty as our cleaners do here in London. The individuals I heard from last night had made a difference to their situation by organising, by joining a union and pushing for better pay and conditions, by having to threaten to go on strike. I'm clear that why this is a logical last resort for these workers when nobody is listening, no low-paid worker should have to lose money or threaten to go on strike in order to get fair pay. They least of all can afford to do this. My view is that Boris Johnson has failed in delivering pay for low-paid workers such as cleaners. Things are getting worse and they're not going to get better without action. And it should be the Mayor's action, not forced action by the individuals and groups of workers concerned. The Mayor should be taking efforts to reverse the trend and supporting low-paid workers out of poverty through redoubling his efforts on the London living wage in this last year of his mayoralty. Thank you.